What's the biggest misconception of you? What's one thing people think about you, but it's not true?
People think that I am very nice, friendly, and gullible, and naive to some degree. And that is the total opposite. Once they get to know me, they're surprised. They're like, I didn't know you were this type of person. When I say this type of person, I mean like raw, uncut, no filter, no bullshit, straightforward type person.
Craziest rumor you heard about yourself?
Oh, craziest rumor I've ever heard about myself. Shit, you never really hear the shit that people say about you. Damn, think.
Not enough to say one here or too many to say one?
Not enough to be. Oh, the craziest rumor that I heard is that I broke up with my ex to come to Atlanta to become a stripper.
That's false.
Yeah, totally false.
But
I broke up with my ex because he was a piece of shit, and I'm a waitress at a strip club, but I'm not a stripper. I probably shouldn't have said he's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. He's not a great person.
Okay.
Sorry. My kids are going to see that, so I didn't want to say that. And my kids say, Mom, you say our dad's a piece of shit on the show. Yeah. So, sorry.
Is there a question you hate to answer that people ask of you?
I hate when people that I don't know come up and ask me 100 personal questions, and I just kind of like, then I'm looked at like a bitch because it's like, you don't know me like that to come asking me shit like that. So that's the only time I get a little salty. But
What's something that they ask that gets under your skin?
I mean, they just come and just ask you a million questions, and it's like, do you really have 4 kids? Do you really, oh, bruh.
Do you care what people think of you?
Not really.
Not really may mean a little bit.
Not really, only because I really don't give a shit what people think about me. But at the end of the day, I know that I have a brand and I have a image, and I care what they think about that. But me personally, no, I don't give a shit. If you like me or you don't.
You honestly mean that when you say that?
I honestly mean that.
Now,
Is that rude?
did you care at one point?
Yes, I did. And that's why I was so insecure, because I gave too much of a shit what people thought. And it put me into a box. Like, I felt like I had to be perfect in this aspect. I had to do this way. I had to do that way. And nothing I did was good enough if people didn't like it or if I didn't fit up to the expectations. And it just made me feel like I wasn't worthy of it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't good enough for certain things. So therefore it caused me to be insecure. It caused me to not live at my fullest potential. So now, once I released that and I came to the position where I feel like, you know, this is who I am. And if I'm too hood for you, I'm sorry. If I'm too ghetto for you, I'm sorry. If I'm too real for you, I'm sorry, but this is who I am. So I'm sorry, not sorry.
What was the turning point?
When I actually moved to Atlanta. Moving to Atlanta, this was my first time being on my own since I was like 15. So being here and, you know, being afraid to step out on my own for the first time, I really just had to just let go of everything and just start brand new and just be comfortable with who I am and what I had to bring to the table.
Was that easy or hard to do?
At first, it was terrifying. Like I said, I had not been on my own since I was a teenager. And then I kind of just, you know, jumped. I got out of my situation because I was just sick of it, and I just jumped out with no plan, no harness. I just jumped. And the only thing that kept me was the grace, so that's why I'm here.
When you say situation, you mean a relationship?
Yes, yeah. You call it relationship or death sentence or whatever you want to call it.
Now, one can care so much about another person's opinion. It can lead to stress. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to depression. Even worse, it can lead to suicidal thoughts.
True.
Did you ever face these obstacles, caring about another person's opinion?
Only when I was in my relationship. That's the only time I allowed him to have so much power over me to where he dictated my happiness. He dictated, how I felt when I walked out the house, how I looked at myself in the mirror. His opinion, it's like Cardi B said, how does the lyrics go? Where she was like, I got so fucked up in my thinking about your opinion about me, I started looking at myself sideways, just because your head was fucked up. And that's really how it was, So at the end of the day, once I got out of that situation, I just released my wings. But yeah, I definitely can see that being an issue. Like, I've been so depressed and stressed out, worrying about pleasing somebody else to where you just lose yourself. Now that's when you lose yourself, in my opinion.
This type of relationship you're describing, and verbally or physically, is this an abusive description?
I mean, I've experienced both with this person. So yes, it was a very toxic relationship. He was not only verbally abusive, physically abusive, financially abusive, emotionally abusive. So yeah, it was a very toxic relationship.
People go through this type of stuff all the time. Sometimes it ends with a happy ending, and sometimes it ends in a horrific ending.
Right.
And circumstances could be different for people across the world that go through this. But give us some insight or some advice on dealing with a toxic relationship. Some people, they get out at the right time. Some people get out they waited a little too long, giving too many chances before they finally hit the curb. And some people, unfortunately, never get out.
Make it out. Right. In my opinion, I feel like you have to do what's best for you. I stayed in my relationship far too long, only because we had kids, and I wanted to do what was right by the kids. But at the end of the day, I was miserable, and I felt like I was doing an injustice to my kids by allowing them to stay in a dysfunctional household. I'd rather be happy separately and parent on my own and show my kids how to be happy versus staying in an unstable relationship just so that I can have a family, but we're not happy. So his argument was, you're just going to give up on our family. What are you teaching our kids, to give up on life? No, I'm teaching them to go after their own happiness, because their own happiness is more important than anybody else's.
So how would one know, because you said you kind of stayed in it a little too long. Mm-hmm. How would one know when and again, circumstances could be different for everybody. No relationship is equally the same to another's. But how does one know the right signs on when to get out? When it's not too late or too long?
I think I told him 2 years ago that I wasn't in love with him anymore, and I should have left then. But again, I tried to work it out because he claimed he was going to change, and for the sake of our family, my mother, his mother, everyone kept pushing the fact of family, unity, don't give up, don't quit. But you're living for everybody else at that point. So it's like you're not happy, you've lost yourself, you're trying to be this Susie homemaker, and at the end of the day, it's not working. So you just have to go out there making yourself happy. I mean, at the end of the day, you only have one life. You have to be happy and live for yourself. And if anybody else, is not happy in the process, sorry, I did my best. But, I only have one life, and I have to be happy for myself. Because, like you said, you can get stressed out. You can get, anxiety. I've lost plenty nights of sleep. My hair is falling out. Like, I went through hell and high water living in that stressful relationship. Shit's not worth it. That shit would kill you.
Some people have died from relationships.
Yes. And have had people kill them in relationships. So you have to know when enough is enough, get the hell out. No matter who you hurt in the process, you can do it. Everybody has to restart. You have to understand that some people are put in your life for a reason, and some people are put in your life for a season. And once you understand that everybody's not going to be permanent, it makes the transition a lot easier.
What are your keys to success?
My keys to success is just trying to stay sane. And staying consistent. Once you just stay consistent. Find what you like. For me, it was hard because I was just trapped in this dark place for so long that I didn't really know, what my purpose was for a while. I didn't know what my journey, my path was for a while. So eventually, once I found it, I found that niche. Once you find that niche, that one thing that you can't go without doing, like you feel incomplete if you don't do it, follow it. It's going to lead you somewhere. Just follow your dream, follow your passion, just stay consistent.
Did you ever get some sort of counseling or therapy going through that relationship as you were going through it, or even after it?
This is my therapy. Workouts. That was my therapy. That's how I got through this shit. I worked out twice a day. I would run when I got stressed out. I would get up and run at 11 o'clock at night just to get the fuck away from my situation. That was my therapy. That's how I escaped from everything that was going on, was I worked out. That's the truth.
Well, that sounds like a good way of doing it, but I'm sure some people eat their way incorrectly and gain weight because of what they're going through, or they may maybe they may shoplift and get an addiction to that, or that feeling of euphoria doing that. Or
I did that.
There's all kinds of ways people cope, self-cope, and can be the wrong way without any real structure or somebody consulting them or therapy. And some people can get out perfectly fine too on their own. But do you wish, hindsight 2020, you sought some sort of professional counseling or therapy with what you had gone through, or did you need to go through this stuff on your own?
Probably I could have taken a better route of doing it, but I did find myself addicted to some of the wrong things. I was I don't know how to say this. Sticky fingers ran in my family, so it was not hard to gravitate to that, and I did get a kick out of it. Just, I don't know, maybe it was just a matter of, that anxiety, that moment of, being able to get away with certain things, and that was one of my addictions at one point, and I could not understand why I did it.
There's a euphoric feeling there.
It really is. It really is. But I just started trying to do more soul searching. I'm like, okay, I don't want to, I don't like jail. That shit's not fun. I don't like that shit. So I'm going to find something else. So that's why I started working out a little bit more. And I found that same feeling through my workouts.
I mean, people can do drugs.
Right.
People can, it's all kinds of things people can get into that's not.
I've seen, like, not to put my mom out there, but my mom has the same issue. She's going through depression, and I'm trying to help her through it. But she has a bad habit of shopping. Like, she would shop and extend her credit cards, to the point where she's, like, in debt behind it because she's just dealing with her stress that way. I've seen it. I've seen people eat through their depression. I see people I went through that, but I never really gained weight from it because I always exercise. But, like, when I got depressed, I would have bags and bags of M&Ms and Hershey Kisses. Like, literally, I would eat a 1-pound bag in one day by myself. I would eat chocolate chip cookies. I would make the whole pack and eat it by myself. Like, those are things that I used to cope with my situation. And that, again, were all wrong, but it was just a process I had to go through.
Other things I'm thinking, too, I'm sure some people gamble.
Yeah, I've heard that, too.
Things. Some people can hurt
I'm too tight for
themselves,
that.
cut them. Some people can cut themselves.
I've seen that, too.
Some people, you worked out, but some people can take it, instead of doing the opposite of eating or overeating, they undereat. It can cause bulimia or, that sort of thing maybe.
And to be honest, like, again, through Instagram, it has allowed me to reach a lot of people from a lot of walks of life and situations. And I've actually had so many people reach out to me and tell me, hey, Rocsi, I don't know what to do. I lost my grandmother. I'm stressed. All I can do is eat. How can I, transition from this? I've seen stories where people say, hey, I can't deal with, the loss of my job, and I'm going through stress with all these kids. I don't know what to do. Like, I've seen people reach out to me for different things dealing with stress, how to deal with it. They ask me, like, I'm a therapist. How can I deal with this? How can I, like, I've had to go through real life therapy sessions through my DM with women dealing with stress and how to cope with certain things. And I really think there should be more resources out there for women that's dealing with stressful issues in life. And people had to not be afraid. Like, I was afraid to reach out for help, to be honest. I didn't want nobody in my business, especially when I started getting on social media. It's like, okay, I don't need everybody knowing what I'm going through. But at the end of the day, I realize now that what I was going through would have helped other people if they knew what I, how I got through it. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. That's why I'm not afraid to talk about it anymore. Like at first, I wouldn't tell somebody, no, I was depressed, I was going through this, or I did that. I was ashamed of shit that I went through. But now I don't give a shit because I know that my story would help someone else.